Hello,
Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's this?
Can you all hear me? Cynthia, can you hear me? I can't
Yes.
hear you. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and Aida, can you hear us? Okay. All right.
Turn your phones off too, by the way.
Can you go get Bonnie again, please, for me?
Oh, you better sit down with that now.
We don't want to make Mr. Wilson richer than he already is. No, actually, we do, Mr. Wilson. We want to sell 5 listings in the next 2 months so we can make you richer.
Rodney, did you brag on yourself yet?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow. Rodney, can you tell us about your production so far this month?
Well, you know, the Saturday guys, I did it, approved offers, accepted offers on 2 of my listings. So Gardena was, congrats, man. So now I gotta see if they're gonna praise, of course. I gotta see again if there's gonna be any bumps. So that was sold. Picked up probably 3 buyers from that whole open house that I did. You know, I did open house for the last few weeks down there. Probably got 3 solid buyers from it. Got a listing presentation coming up on this Thursday, so hopefully I get another listing out in the Altadena area this Thursday. So just been working, guys. That's all it takes. Been working. You know, I'm excited about this year. You know, I'm just gonna keep at it and hopefully get more. Yeah, Altadena.
Can you tell us what your work schedule is these days? Because I've noticed something different from last year.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into this office between that 7 o'clock hour, 7, and I'm leaving at hopefully 7:30. And I usually work until about 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, you know, so that's kind of my work day now, you know, and again, just got there's a lot of folks out here, you know, 3-car wash, like that, you know,
Looks like
you
it's
take
working.
this easy, make it cheap for yourself, you know, but that's just something to sign the book, you know.
That scratch is a good idea. People think about it. That's good.
No, it's not a bad idea, because if it's $1 million that you gave away, but they ain't come back to buy a house. Yeah, but scratches are cheap.
Yeah, that one.
And everybody would love to have a scratch
Okay, you know, I had an event that I attended not too long ago, a community event, and there were probably about 400 people there. And so I wanted to get some prospects out of that presence that I had there. And so what I did was I offered a $50 cash prize. I said, if you fill out this form, and you need to give me your email address and your home address, your telephone number, then you will be put in a drawing. And guess what? I got, I think, about 15 people to fill that out. Right? And do you think they gave me the correct information?
Yeah, because how are they going to get their $50 otherwise?
Yeah, you can give $25. People just like a free gift. Yeah, I would think so too. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Yeah, I would think that's the first thing they give you, their name, right? Yeah, so here's what I would do is I would, you know, make it fun and give people the opportunity to help you. And here's what I did with that. I took that information and then I had a drawing here in the office, and one person won. And so I called that person up and I said, hey, I want to thank you for filling out that form at my desk. And I said, by the way, you know, that was a $50 cash drawing. And I said, you won. And they were so excited. Oh my gosh, I never win anything. Right? So they were excited. And then the other thing I did, I looked to see if they own the home afterwards. They do own the home, so I'm going to stay in touch with them. But the other thing that I did was I sent out a personal note card to everyone else who filled out the form. And I wanted to let them know, thank you for filling out my form. Mrs. Cox won the $50 cash drawing, just so they'll know that it really wasn't bogus, that I actually did something. And I took the time to send them a personal note and say, please let me know if there's anything I can help you with. that involves real estate. So it took some time to fill out that personal note card. It took me a 49-cent stamp to get it out there, but that's just another little follow-up for me, and I added them all to my database. Okay, so this is what I do, and you can do this when you go on an open house as well. All right, so open house prospecting opportunities.
Could I add that?
You may.
Just as a way of just trying to get people work with you. We also have a little something for the agents that bring clients by, or agents that come and preview the property, and they keep that property in mind.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
Again, you can do the same thing, scratch it, you can have some kind of $50, $20 or whatever, and again, that's not getting you selling the property, but at the same time, when you get an offer from that agent, hopefully you get an offer from that agent. That's the way of just trying to keep the communication going.
Very well. Good job. Okay, so the other thing I do is I want to look at comparables in the area. I let the consumers know that the appraisals are only going to go back about 90 days when they're doing their appraisal report. A lot of folks think that, my house down the street sold for, $450,000 last year. Mine must be worth $550,000 now. But you know what? That comparable from last year, it doesn't really count for this year, does it, Keith? Yeah. Only the last 90 days. So that's what you do. I also give them a list of active listings on the market at this time, in case they're thinking about, sizing their home up. Maybe they're thinking about buying a home, or maybe they have a friend or relative who wants to move in the neighborhood. So I want to give them some education about what's going on in the neighborhood. And all this is going to do is build up goodwill for me as a possible agent for them when they want to sell their home.
I just like it too.
Pardon? Yes, Mark.
No, I just wanted to add one thing now, which is pretty neat. Actually, Bonnie showed it to me a couple months ago. One of the things that we can also do is for those who have tablets or computers, when you go to the open house or listing appointments, do a search around the property with the information the mail has on the board, right? When all the properties come up, like you'll have them like in a little square, a little circle, hit save. And it will save that search. And all those properties, just something you don't want to get rid of it, but it'll save that search. And if you go into the app, MRMLS, there's a little button that says My Saved Searches. While you're at the open house, if you just touch it, it will open that map with all of those properties on it, so you can see, like if you give them a sheet with comps and sales and stuff that's active, you can actually see where each property is on the map. And yeah, and if they have a question about it, it's easy for you to look at it. It's an easy reference, and you touch it, it'll show you the photos and all the detail about the property. So it's good information to have. Yeah. So thought I'd share that.
Thank you, Mark. That's a great tool, and I'm not sure if those of you who are online, if you heard what Mark said, but what he said is that if you have a mobile device, a tablet, iPad, Android, or any other kind of a tablet or a mobile phone, you can go to, I believe it's CRMLS. Is that what it is? CRMLS. It's a mobile app, and you can download that app, and then you can do a search of the properties in the area from which your open house is being held. It'll pull up all the properties there. You save that search, and you can print that up, but while you're there, you can talk about that when you're talking with prospects who come in to see your property. And what I found out is that when I have a mobile device or a tablet, and I show them on my mobile device or my tablet, it allows them to break down that wall of distance between myself and themselves. And so they get into a closer space with me, which is a more friendly space, right? Instead of them standing back 10 feet, they want to see these photos, and so you can wow them with that, and it gets them emotionally engaged with what you're talking about. So it's a powerful, powerful tool. Thank you, Mark. One of the other things you can do is you can show a listing to sales ratio. And what this does is it shows them not every property sells at the price it is listed at. And so some folks may want to overprice their property, and they may be going down the wrong road by overpricing their property. The average days on the market. Most consumers have no clue about how long it really takes for a property to sell. And you may be talking to a prospect who's looking at a property that you have as an open house, and they're saying, well, I'm not going to move for another 6 months. And so they're thinking, I'll put the house on the market in 6 months. But the reality is that there's marketing time, there's preparation time, and so there's processing time for the escrow. So really that 6 months that they're thinking it may that they want to put the home on the market, it may be 2 months or 3 months, right? Because it may take time for them to get everything ready for it. It may take time for you to sell that property through your marketing techniques. Things don't typically just sell overnight unless it's underpriced or unless there's such a tremendous shortage, there's no inventory there. Inventory is tight, but all I'm saying is that you can educate that prospect and let them know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you want to sell in 6 months, but did you know it's going to take us 3 months to get this home marketed and another month and a half of escrow? So actually, you're only about a month away from putting your home on the market. You see? And that way you get the listing today instead of coming back 6 months later and seeing Virgil's sign in the front yard instead of yours. Right? Okay, so the average price reduction, you can get this information, the average price reduction by percentages, average price reduction by dollar amounts, and where do you get it from? You go to SRAR.com, scroll down to the bottom of the home page, and at the bottom in small print, it says statistics. And you click on statistics, and you can pull up all this information about average days on the market, sales to listing ratios, average price reduction in dollars and percentage, number of properties on the market in that price range, number of properties on the market in that geographic area, a whole host of things that you can do just by accessing SRAR.com/statistics. Okay? All right, we're closing down toward the end, and then we're going to go into some opportunities for you. One, or put up signs. You put up signs at least a day or so before the open house stating that I have an open house coming soon, and you give the date and the time, because guess what? People typically have certain driving patterns, and so maybe they're driving their kids to school during a weekday, and they're not thinking about, stopping by your house today, but they may decide to stop by your house on the way from grocery shopping or on the way to dropping the kids off to soccer, right? And if you give them that heads-up notice that the open house is going to be there, they'll modify their driving pattern for them to stop by and see your open house. Does that make sense? So here are the things that you can do as a modest investment, maybe $1 or a little bit more, to buy a sign writer saying open house and when the open house is being held, and you can write in the time. Place directional signs at every major intersection within 3 to 4 blocks of your house. Did you hear that? You got to get people there, and especially if you're in a place where it's a cul-de-sac or an enclave where they have to go different ways to get to your property. And I want you to be mindful that in the city of Los Angeles, there is a sign ordinance. And if you let your sign stay up overnight in the city of Los Angeles and the building and safety inspectors come by, they will impound your signs, and then they will send you a fine notification saying they're going to fine you for your sign being up illegally. If you're selling properties in other jurisdictions like GABAR, the Greater Antelope Valley Association of Realtors, not only are they enforcing the signs, but you actually have to pay the city for a permit to post your signs out there. And if you don't, they will hit you with a heavy-duty fine if you do not go to them and pay in advance for a sticker for each sign. And what's worse is you got to take the signs, each one of them, up to their office for them to actually physically see them, and then you can get the stickers for them. So folks up there are tough. and I wouldn't want to see you get fined for marketing your property. All right, get feedback. It's important for you to find out some feedback on what's going on with the property that you are trying to market, okay? And so how do you get feedback, William? Ask. Ask, call, you ask them, what did you think about this property? And here's what I do. I tell my sellers, I said, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some feedback from every agent that brings a client through this property, or every agent that previews the property. And here's how I get the agent to cooperate with me. I'll invest in some Starbucks gift card, maybe $5 gift card or something that's not too expensive. And I'll say, you know what, I really would appreciate it, Nancy, if you would give me some feedback on what your thoughts are about this property. What you think it will sell for, what you think the price should be, what do you think the sellers need to do to get it in better condition. And for you doing that, Nancy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter your name into a drawing for one of these gift cards. And so that's what I do, and most folks go, okay, I'll do that. And then what I do to protect the agent, I do not say the name of the agent who gave you that feedback. I'll have a write-up, a form like a little spreadsheet that I either hand do or you can do it on the computer, saying, oh, this company said this, or that company said this about the property. I don't want to bust Nancy up, and so when she comes in and writes an offer on the property, and she told me that the property was a dog, and I don't want them saying, isn't that the agent that said my house is a dog? I'm not going to accept her offer, right? So I don't want to do that. I don't want to take away, you know, you're not supposed to talk negatively about an agent, right? Even if it is, they're doing negative things, you know that, right? It's unethical to do that. So, but what I want to do is I want to get Nancy's feedback, and then I also want to know what Nancy's clients thought. Nancy, what did your buyers think about this property? Oh, you know, they were looking for a 3-bedroom with 2 baths, and yours only had 1. And so what I do is I take this information back and I meet with the sellers a day or two after the open house, unless I do it the same day of the open house, and I'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I just want to give you some feedback on the market. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing them for a marketing adjustment. If they have too much clutter, and everybody's saying that, then I'm going to say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they say your house is too much clutter. Can we get some of these things out of here? Can we put them in storage? Or, you know, can I get you some boxes that you can put these things away so that your house doesn't seem to be as cluttered as it is? And then on the pricing, this will help me get a price reduction. If everybody's saying, if the house is listed at $1.6 million, and everybody's saying, no, it won't sell for more than 1.5, guess what? I'm going to let that seller know this, because the seller may not be receptive today. Oh, this is just the first open house, or it's only been on the market for 30 days. I'm laying the groundwork for coming back to get my marketing adjustment later. And the way I get that is I have this evidence from the other folks who are the experts, the realtors and the consumers, buyers who are looking at properties in this neighborhood, and that's going to help me. And so what it does, it takes the pressure off from me being, oh, you just want to lower my price and get a commission real fast. Because that's what most of them are thinking, is that, oh, you don't really want to take the time it takes to sell my house. My house is really special. And so this is what you do to help you avoid that.
Yeah.
Yes, Keith.
Going back to the feedback.
Yes.
When we were me and Randy at Century 2Y,
Mm-hmm.
every Tuesday after the meeting we have a caravan.
Mm-hmm.
Each of us, when you go to see houses, you have to bring this piece of a quarter of let's say a quarter of the 8.5 by 11, you know, half sheet. Yeah, and then there's a comment. You have to put, what do you think? How much this house sell? What does it need to sell this house? And then when you go back to the office and fill it out, give it to the listing agent.
Mm-hmm.
The listing agent go back to the seller and say, look, we care about your house. This is what they are. I think that's a good idea too.
I think it's a great tool.
And like I was gonna say, that same sheet, I leave them in my open house for agents to fill out for me too. So if you wanna have something like flyers, like you said, profile and comps, you can also have these sheets there, and these agents may just do that for you.
I think it's a great tool. Get the market to work with you. Get your other colleagues to work with you to help you get this property priced right. Because I tell you, there's nothing worse than having an overpriced property and ultimately that goes to a point where it expires. And then what will happen is some other agent will come along and they'll tell the client the truth. They'll tell them, hey, you know what, your house really is a nice house, but it's way overpriced. And if you price it at this level here, I can get it sold for you. And I've seen that happen so many times where property was overpriced. The agent, for whatever reason, did not communicate that to the seller, or the seller was just stubborn, didn't want to take the advice from you. And so they waited out, house expires, they don't relist with you, they list with the other agent. You spent 6 months marketing this property, sitting open houses, spending all this money and time and aggravation with the seller. Somebody else comes along, sells it, 2 days later and get a full commission and you get nothing. So this is why it's important for you to gather this feedback so that you can educate your clients about what's going on with the market, okay? All right, so we said here we need to move the clutter. You need to get somebody to wash those windows, right? Put some flowers out. Turn on all the lights in every room. Turn on the lights in the closet, even during the daytime. This is what I do, and I tell the clients I'm going to do this, and I tell the clients I'm going to turn off all the lights at the end of the open house, so their DWP is not going to be going astronomical because I left the power on all day long. I want to open the drapes or the blinds, and of course, unless there's a bunch of broken windows, then I don't do that. But I tell the buyer that, the windows are broken. Seller may or may not replace those windows. I ask the seller to remove all valuables. I don't want to take responsibility for anything being stolen. I mean, when you're in an open house and there are multiple people looking at this property, you can't be everywhere. And most consumers do not want you following them around every room, looking at them while they're looking at the home. I mean, how uncomfortable is it when you go to a place to shop and the salesperson is following you at every place you go? They don't do the black people? Okay, all right. It's not a comfortable feeling, right? Okay, you want to get them to confine those pets, get them to put the pets somewhere or take them for a walk or do something like this. I mean, folks love their pets sometimes more than they love people. And so you don't want to alienate yourself from that client, but you have to take that horse out of the house, Gina. You can't have the horse there. You got to take your horse somewhere else, okay? All right. And so you want to make sure those pets have been confined somewhere. And then a lot of times what happens is folks will say, oh, he doesn't bite, or she doesn't bite, and she might, right? Yeah, so you got to try to get them to, and sometimes folks are allergic to pets. And so you don't want them to have their pets running around all the place, and it really, God forbid, you open the door and the pet runs out and, gets lost forever. I mean, then you lost that listing, right? And they've lost a friend. So you want to do that. You want to turn on some soft music. I know some of you like hard rock stuff, but don't turn it on. Turn on some soft, soothing music that will really make people feel good. Have you ever noticed that when you go shopping at certain stores, different stores have different types of music? When I go to a store that has a lot of mod, 20 and 30-year-old female garments, man, they have that music piping and pumping up really hard, right? And when I go to a place where guys want to buy stuff, they have that music, the bass is bouncing really hard. You ever notice that? Yeah. There's a whole science to this. So you want to make, isn't there? Yeah, so you want to make sure you have the right kind of ambiance when that property is being seen by consumers. You want to make sure you set up a table for your fact sheet. And you try to locate that table somewhere at the front end of the property so when they walk in, what I typically do is I'll say something like, hi, well, welcome to my open house. And then I'll say, there's setup sheets over here or information sheets here. And I'll say, by the way, I'm doing a quick survey. How did you find out about open house? Well, I saw it on Trulia. Oh, I saw your sign. or you know what, I saw it wherever. Somebody knocked on my door and left a flyer on my door. I want to know what's working, what is causing this open house to get the traffic that it's getting, or what's not working. If I'm doing something that's not working, I don't want to keep doing that. And so the way you find out, Lillian, is you just ask the question, well, how did you find out about my open house? And you just listen. And you just take a little note of what they said, and at the end of the open house, you get a good sense of what they're saying. All right, so here are some of the things I want you to think about with open houses. Open houses, I want to encourage you guys to try to get listings on a busy street. Try to get listings on busy streets. But why is that? More people will see it. You try to get listings on a busy street because more people will see that listing. And guess what? When that property is sold, you're going to have your big sold sign up there. You know, you might have a pending, or you might have in escrow, and then when it's actually getting ready to close, you put sold up there. And this is just great PR for you. And that's why you don't want to have an overpriced listing, because that sign sits up there for a long period of time, and they're thinking, oh, this guy he never sells them, he only lists them. I want to get somebody who's actually going to sell my property. All right, so I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover. There are a number of properties that we have that are on the market right now, active on the market. How many of you have a listing right now that is prime for an open house? Anybody here? Okay, so I want you to go over what I gave today so that you can get yourself prepared to have a very successful open house. I was just in your neighborhood yesterday. Here's an open house in Palmdale. I'm not sure whose listing this is, but it looks pretty good on the outside, and the price is pretty right. It's $259,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Wow, 2,300 square feet. Yeah, okay, here's another one here. Oh, who wants to drive up to Tulare? Anybody got any? You call it Tulare?
Yeah, say it the French way.
Well, it's up near the prison, right? Anybody got anybody visit anybody up there? All right. Okay. Here's one here in Canoga Park. All right. All right. Price for $450. All right. Just trying to give you some food for thought. Here's one here in Sylmar, really nice property. It's in a gated community, priced at $402. All right, that's I believe Martin Verdusco. But you can go into the office information. You can pull them up yourself. They're available. You just put in the office code, click on active, and you'll get all these listings just like we have here. Do you all understand what I said? You go onto the MLS, you access it, you do search, you put in our company office code, and you put in active listings, and it'll give you every one that you're seeing here. Okay? All right, here's one on Sepulveda that's been on the market for 150 days. Okay, it's a short sale. All right, here's another one here on Dominica. That's in Lakeview Terrace over near the 210 freeway for $525. So I think I've given you some food for thought. There are opportunities out here. I know a number of our folks have been getting listings. Congratulations to all of you who have. Listings is where it's at. When you get listings, you're going to get busy. You're going to make money in this market because the inventory is still kind of tight. And so if the property is priced right, you got a listing, Keith, guess what?
Ching, Keith.
Ching.
Ching, ching, bling, bling. Okay. All right. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. All right. Any questions about how to generate leads for listings using open houses? Any questions?
Yeah, you gotta make sure you get your own signs too, because after a while we gonna always be so busy when you're gonna be able to share Mel Wilson sign.
That's right. You might want to invest in branding yourself. And the way you do that is we have a company that makes our signs for us. And we can give you the option for what type of sign it will be. We like the A-frame signs that will stand up. You don't have to worry about staking them in the ground. And it's nice to have Lillian Boedo. Oh, the real estate engineer. Candace working for you. Right, what's your model, what's your month? What's on your email?
Home is where the heart is.
Home is where the heart is.
Okay. What's your email address?
Productive candy.
Productive Candy, okay.
That's the one.
Alright. Alright. So I want you all to start thinking about how you can brand yourself, because branding is where it's at. Our goal as a company is to give you the infrastructure so that you can spend most of your time prospecting, setting appointments, and then we'll take care of your paperwork for you. We'll do the TC work for you. We'll do the escrow work for you. And all you need to do is just follow up with your client and keep them happy. And guess what? At the end of escrow, you'll have a nice check and a happy client. And don't forget to ask your client for references and referrals before you close escrow with them. Don't wait until the close of escrow to ask for them to give you a referral, because something may go rocky before that escrow closes, and then they may not be willing to give you that referral letter. So I would ask, as I'm going through the process with the client, I'll say, hey, well, how do you feel about this? You know, how do you like your service so far? Would you mind giving me a review? Can you give me a review, and then I can put it onto our system, and then we can start using testimonials so that people will begin to look up you. And you probably want to put it on your website, because I'll tell you, people look at reviews these days. It's amazing how, folks, when you want to go to a restaurant, what do? You look up the reviews, right? And if it's a 3 or 4 star, you know, you may give it a shot. But if it's a 2 star and has a health violation, you probably won't go there, right? So reviews are really powerful. You need to ask for them, and ask for them before escrow closes. Okay, thank you all so much. I appreciate it, and hopefully you got a little bit out of this so you can start setting up some open houses and do some business. Hi, Gina. Hi, Gina.
It is how title insurance. Have you ever had anybody? Have you ever had anybody ask what is title insurance?